Hello everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Essence, and in today's video I would like to talk about graveyards slash cemeteries. The stereotype that they are all haunted, and the answer is no. Why is that? First of all, many people use the word cemetery and graveyard interchangeably, but there is a difference. A cemetery is a community burial plot, like a bunch of land for burial plots for like a community, a society. Graveyards are usually associated with churches and could be their patrons or could be the people who actually run the church, usually family members and stuff like that. But now, why aren't they all haunted? I mean, it would seem weird that a plot of land has a bunch of dead bodies in it and it is not haunted, or at least not severely haunted. Well, the answer is when a person dies, I mean, a few things can happen. And it all depends on how the person died, how the person was when they died, and how they lived their life. Preferably if a person has lived their life to the fullest and has nothing more, no more connection to this world, doesn't feel like they have to do anything, doesn't have any unfinished business, then they will ascend. They will go to a higher plane, continue on their spiritual path. From there, I'm not exactly sure if reincarnation is immediate or is it a choice. Can you just relax a little bit before going on to the next round? I don't know. Now, if a person died in a tragic way, a lot of pain and suffering involved, then it is most likely that they will have too much of that negative energy to actually ascend. And some may want revenge, and others may want, justice. Maybe not revenge, but justice. Those people will stay, but usually, if they did die in such a manner, then normally they're going to haunt the site where they died. Especially if a lot of blood was involved. The blood is actually it's like a staple. Sticks in there and kind of keeps them in that area. And then, of course, there's people who did not die being good people. Maybe they died of natural causes and it wasn't really violent or miserable, but maybe they were miserable people inside. Just maybe no family, no friends, felt lonely, felt just like the world was out to get them, and maybe just was an overall miserable person. Those kinds of people could follow their bodies to where they are buried. Now, it is true, those who died in a tragic manner, whether it be accidental or purposeful, can also follow their bodies back to where they are buried. But it doesn't always happen like that. Some stay in the spot where they died, and some follow their bodies back. For whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe in attempts to try and to live again. Maybe they're hopeful that, if I wait here and I try things, maybe I can resurrect my body, and come back. I wouldn't put it past people to try. Hell, I would try. But, of course, that can't really happen. I mean, no spirit on this plane, I don't think, could possess the ability to not only resurrect, a body and reestablish the silver cord, but also to heal what they died from. I don't think there is any. But there are cemeteries out there that we've gone to. I've told stories about how me and my family used to go ghost hunting when I was younger. And there were some cemeteries that, while they were creepy, you didn't feel like there was anything in them. And a lot of them were like smaller ones. There's even a big one near me that we've gone to at night, and there really hasn't been anything. We didn't capture anything. And it's possible that's because most of the people buried there have spirits that have moved on. It's quite possible. Maybe that cemetery just got lucky. But there are others that are extremely haunted, and that's most likely because there are people in there who died in a tragic way, or there are there's also those who they may have not ascended, but they're sticking with their body just for rest, because who knows, maybe they're afraid of going to hell. That is true too. Um, there are spirits who, inside they've chosen to stay on Earth. They chose to stay earthbound. And let's say someone like disturbs their grave, maybe disrespects them, maybe digs it up like grave diggers. That's possible that's when they could start haunting as well. Like, for example, there is a cemetery not too far from me called Butler Cemetery. It's also been called William Ganong Cemetery in Livonia, I think. Livonia, Michigan. And it is severely haunted by a woman in blonde who causes bad, tragic accidents in front of the road of the cemetery. And I did find an article where, in that same cemetery many, many years ago, like in the 1970s, police found a grave that had been ransacked, and they found a piece of a skull with blonde strands of hair. But for some reason, they couldn't find where exactly the skull came from. They were unable to find the exact grave, so maybe there were multiple graves dug up. So they weren't exactly able to pinpoint where her grave was, so they kept it in police archives in the county. Well, ever since then, people have claimed to see a blonde woman crossing the street in front of people's cars and causing bad accidents where people have died. And it is a extremely haunted cemetery. We have gone before, but of course, when I was little, I didn't want to go. I stayed in the car, and I was so worried about seeing her. But it's possible she is there because her grave was disturbed. She chose to remain earthbound, and unfortunately, some very bad people decided to try and dig up her grave, maybe for valuables. And now that her grave is not whole. Eventually, I did think they buried her head, but it was like in an unmarked grave. It wasn't in her exact grave because they didn't know. And that's why she is still seen today. So that could be another reason, earthbound spirits, because there are spirits who do choose to remain earthbound on purpose. Whether or not because they may not believe that there is anything on the other side, atheists, or it's possible that they are so afraid that they did the wrong things in life and are going to be sent to hell, and they don't want to, they'd rather be here on earth than go to a place where they could be tormented forever. And it's not all cemeteries or graveyards. There are some that, while they may have some spirits in them, it's not enough for them to be actively haunted. These may be spirits that are just wandering. You may see something at night, but it's not like legendary, A lot of stories aren't going to come off of those ones. And it is possible in cemeteries that are super haunted, because they have a lot of people who died in tragic and horrifying ways, that this negative energy all in one spot could draw demons. Demons are extremely attracted to negative energy, whether it comes off of living people or dead people, spirits who give off this negative energy. And what this negative energy does is it creates portals, and then these demons come through these portals, and these demons thrive in here. There have been people who have ghost hunters who have gone to cemeteries, and when they come back, they have attachments with them, which means a spirit has followed them back home, whether it be a demonic or a negative human spirit. And why would they follow someone home? I'm going to get to that in another video because that's just too much to unpack right now, but it is very possible to also have the demons also, which also will ramp up the amount of supernatural activity in a cemetery. And that's my take on things, like why some cemeteries are not as haunted as others. So if you have any questions, please put it down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And stay safe in cemeteries, guys.